Story 1: The Pumpkin at Blackwood Maze. Part 1. The first thing Connor noticed was the smell. Not the sweet, spiced scent of pumpkin pies or kettle corn, but something sour, like damp hay and old sweat under the autumn air. Blackwood family farms looked festive from a distance, lit by hundreds of warm bulbs strung between poles and barns. But up close, it felt off. The corn rustled in restless whispers. The laughter of families and couples carried too far through the dark. Somewhere, a PA system hissed faint static before looping its cheerful announcement again. Welcome to the Blackwood Maze, Pennsylvania's largest corn experience. Stay on the path, keep your groups together, and remember, the corn watches back. Connor grimaced. The corn watches back? Who writes this stuff? Jess elbowed him. You're just mad they wouldn't let you bring your vape. Tyler laughed, phone in hand. It's probably haunted or whatever. Come on, we paid $20, let's at least get scared for it. Liv lagged behind, hoodie zipped to her chin, clutching a caramel apple that had long gone sticky. I heard someone went missing here last year, she said quietly. Connor turned. Missing like, actually missing? Yeah, she murmured. Some senior prank from Millersville High. They jumped the fence after closing. Never came out. Tyler smirked. Urban legend. Every corn maze has one. Still creepy, Jess said, tightening her grip on Connor's arm. Let's just stick together. They stepped under the wooden arch marked Blackwood Maze, enter if you dare. Instantly, the light dropped. The sound shifted, from carnival chatter to the muffled hush of tall corn swaying overhead. The stalks towered above them, taller than any man, tight enough to close out the stars. The path was narrow, dirt packed hard from thousands of feet, slick with stray husks. Speakers hidden in the corn played distant screams, chainsaws, and ghostly laughter. Somewhere up ahead, a figure in a scarecrow costume lurched across the path, mechanical joints creaking. Jess shrieked and grabbed Connor's sleeve. Animatronic, he said, though his voice trembled slightly. They wound deeper, every turn looking the same. Hand-painted arrows nailed to posts pointed this way, in dripping orange letters that didn't seem to make sense. They passed a crossroads 3 times. The laughter on the speakers warped, slowing in pitch. Connor checked his phone, no signal. Tyler raised his phone's flashlight. GPS says we're near the center. Liv flinched. How can you tell? We are surrounded by corn. He grinned. Tech bro instinct. But even he stopped joking when the PA system crackled, then shifted tone. The cheerful voice stuttered, glitched, and dropped into static. Then came a new voice. Lower. Slower. Connor. Jess. Tyler. Liv. All 4 froze. The voice was calm, deliberate. Almost affectionate. Then it repeated, louder this time, echoing through the stalks. Connor. Jess. Tyler. Liv. Liv dropped her caramel apple. It sank into the mud with a soft thud. Who's doing that? Jess whispered. Connor forced a laugh he didn't feel. Probably part of the show. But no one else was laughing now. The music had stopped. The wind seemed to hold its breath. They turned down another corridor and stopped short. A figure stood in the path. Tall. Motionless. Masked. The mask wasn't plastic like the other scare actors. It was matte black, smooth as obsidian, with 2 narrow eye slits and no mouth. The costume matched, black hoodie, black gloves, black boots. No logo, no color, no sound. The figure held something, a large, round pumpkin carved into a jagged grin. Connor swallowed. Hey, man. Cool costume. No reply. The masked figure tilted its head slightly, then extended the pumpkin toward him. Take it, the voice said. Not through a speaker this time. It came from behind the mask, low and hoarse. Connor stepped back. "Nah, I'm good." "Take it," the voice repeated. "Or I carve you." Jess gasped. Tyler laughed nervously, looking around for staff, but there was no one else in sight. Liv clutched Connor's sleeve. "Just take it." The figure didn't move until Connor reached out and wrapped his fingers around the cold, smooth rind. The pumpkin was heavier than it should have been. Wet, somehow. As soon as it left the man's hands, the figure stepped backward into the corn. No sound of footsteps. No rustle. Just gone. They stood there, hearts hammering. Tyler broke the silence. "Dude, what the hell was that?" Connor glanced down at the pumpkin. The grin seemed deeper now, the carved edges jagged and irregular. Something shifted inside it, a faint, soft clunk. Jess frowned. "Don't." But Connor had already reached into the top. Cold. Wet. He pulled out a small object and dropped it immediately onto the path. A severed finger. The others screamed. There was a ring still on it, gold, engraved with Millersville High 2023. Liv covered her mouth. "Oh my god." Connor stepped back, shaking. "It's fake, it has to be fake." He tipped the pumpkin. More fingers slid out, slick and pale under the flashlight beam. 9 of them. Each wearing a different class ring. Tyler gagged and stumbled backward. What kind of sick prank?" The PA system crackled again, drowning his words. "Connor. Jess. Tyler. Liv." This time, the voice was distorted, pitched low and warped. The same 4 names, repeating over and over, louder each time, until the corn itself seemed to vibrate with it. Jess screamed, "Run!" They bolted through the rows, shoving through narrow passages, stalks whipping their faces. The flashlight beam bounced wildly. Connor still clutched the pumpkin without realizing it, its grin glowing faintly from within. The maze twisted endlessly. Every direction looked the same. The recorded screams returned, too loud, overlapping, melting into animal sounds. Connor. Jess. Tyler. Liv. Somewhere behind them, heavy footsteps joined the sound. Tyler turned and shouted, "He's following us!" They burst through a clearing, the center of the maze, marked by a wooden scarecrow stage and a fake bonfire. A group of scare actors stood nearby in bloody farmhand costumes, frozen mid-pose. Jess cried, "Help us! There's someone!" The scare actors didn't move. Not one blinked. Connor stepped closer. "Hey! We need help!" Nothing. Then, one by one, their heads turned, not toward him, but upward. At the top of the hayride tower, silhouetted against a single flickering floodlight, stood the same masked figure. In his hand, Connor's phone. The screen glowed faintly. Tyler whispered, How does he have your phone?" Connor checked his pocket. Empty. The voice returned through the PA, "Calm now. Smile for the camera." The floodlight went dark. Screams erupted. And then, nothing but the wind moving through the corn. Part 2. When Connor opened his eyes, everything was quiet. The air smelled like fertilizer and smoke. His cheek pressed into damp dirt. For a moment, he thought it had all been part of the maze, the PA voice, the pumpkin, the screaming. A horror attraction gone too far. Then he sat up and realized the others were gone. The floodlight on the hay tower flickered weakly. The wooden stage stood empty. The scare actors were still there, frozen exactly where they'd been, eyes wide open. One of them, a teenager wearing a burlap mask, twitched slightly when Connor touched his shoulder. The kid blinked rapidly. What happened? The lights went out. Connor staggered to his feet. Where's Jess? Where's Tyler and Liv? The actor pulled off his mask, breathing fast. We were told to freeze in place when the power cut, but we heard screaming. Is this part of the show? Connor looked down. The pumpkin still sat in the mud beside him, its grin half collapsed, pulp and something darker leaking from the mouth. He backed away. Call security. Man, I'm just seasonal, the kid said helplessly. They told us if there's trouble, find the foreman in the control shed. Connor grabbed the flashlight and stumbled toward the exit signs that glowed weakly through fog. The path wound endlessly, but eventually the sound of generators and distant carnival music returned. The moment he stepped out of the maze, the cold air hit different. The families, the food trucks, the hayrides, all normal again. Laughter. Children holding caramel apples. No sign of panic. He felt like he'd been gone hours, but the big clock over the barn read 9:47 p.m. A woman in a staff hoodie approached him. Sir? Are you okay? He stared at her. My friends. They're still in there. We were attacked. Her smile faltered. Attacked? There's a guy in a mask. Black hoodie. He gave me a pumpkin. Connor stopped himself, realizing how insane it sounded. You need to shut the maze down. The woman frowned and pulled out a walkie-talkie. Control, we have a guest complaint in Sector 4. Possible medical issue. He could hear her whispering into it as he stumbled away toward the parking lot, his pulse drumming in his ears. The pumpkin was still in his hands. He didn't remember picking it up again. The police arrived 40 minutes later. 2 Lancaster County deputies, one of them a compact man with deep eye bags and a coffee thermos glued to his hand. He took notes while Connor tried to explain. So let me get this straight, the officer said. You were chased by a man in a mask, who gave you a pumpkin full of fingers? Connor nodded numbly. The deputy sighed. And your friends, Jess, Tyler, Liv, they haven't come out? No, Connor whispered. I looked. They are gone. The other deputy radioed something in code, then said, we checked the maze perimeters. Staff says they haven't seen anyone matching those names. You sure they didn't just wander out? Connor's voice broke. You think I wouldn't notice if they just left me? The officer softened. Look, son, it's probably a prank gone wrong. Kids go missing in these mazes every weekend, we find them at the concession stand. He turned to the staff manager, a heavy-set man with a farm logo cap and clipboard. You got cameras in there? The manager hesitated. Only at the main entry and the control shed. We had issues with vandalism last season. Pull them up, the officer said. They crowded into a small trailer near the hayride loading area. Inside, monitors flickered in grainy night vision. One camera showed the maze entrance, another, a corner near the scarecrow stage. At first, there was nothing, just fog, people wandering through. Then Connor saw himself and the others entering, laughing, turning a corner. Then static. The feed resumed several minutes later, showing the same stretch of path, empty now. Then movement. A figure in matte black stepped into frame. He looked up directly into the camera. The mask reflected no light. He raised a phone, Connor's phone, and held it toward the lens. The image cut to static again. The room went silent. The officer cleared his throat. Can we get that timestamp? 9:11 p.m., the manager said, voice trembling. Connor whispered, he's still in there. The officer straightened. All right, we'll run a full search. Everyone out of the maze. Lock the gates. Within minutes, workers flooded the area with floodlights. Officers moved through the corridors calling the missing kids' names. But the corn swallowed sound. Radios crackled with static. By midnight, they'd found no trace. No Jess. No Tyler. No Liv. The pumpkin sat in an evidence bag on the hood of a cruiser. Connor sat in the back seat, staring at his reflection in the glass, mud streaked down his arm. He couldn't stop hearing the voice. Connor. Jess. Tyler. Liv. It echoed in perfect rhythm with his heartbeat. He stayed in Lancaster overnight at the Blackwood Inn. They told him not to leave town. In the shower, he found corn silk tangled in his hair. On his phone, recovered from the maze floor, there was one new video message, timestamped 9:13 p.m. He pressed play. The screen showed the four of them running. Jess's scream, Tyler's flashlight beam, Liv's voice shouting something, then the video froze. The last frame was a close-up of the pumpkin, grinning into the lens. Connor deleted the file. But an hour later, it reappeared in his gallery. By the next morning, the maze was cordoned off. Local news vans filled the lot. The story spread fast, 3 college students missing at Halloween attraction. Reporters camped outside his motel. When he opened his door, microphones thrust toward him. Connor, were you the last person to see them? Was this part of a publicity stunt? Do you think the farm was involved? He said nothing. He watched from the window as police cars came and went. A state investigator arrived mid-afternoon, crisp suit, calm voice. Mr. Kelly? I'm Detective Freeman. I need you to walk me through what happened. Connor hesitated, then nodded. They sat at the motel table. Connor told her everything. Every detail, the mask, the voice, the pumpkin. She listened quietly. Then she said, "You know about the Blackwood prank crew?" "The what?" "Last year's case," she said. 6 seniors from Millersville High snuck in after hours for a TikTok stunt. Never came home. We found their car in the staff lot. Their phones went dark around midnight. Connor's blood went cold. The fingers. She nodded slowly. If what you found is real, it could be them. He stared at his hands. So you believe me? She closed her notebook. I believe something happened. Whether it's a person or a myth doesn't matter. Either way, it hunts. Outside, the sky turned copper with sunset. The wind picked up, carrying the faint rustle of corn even this far from the farm. That night, Connor couldn't sleep. The motel clock read 3:12 a.m. when the power flickered. His phone buzzed again. Unknown number, one new video message. He froze. When he finally opened it, the screen showed the inside of his motel room. Same lamp. Same unmade bed. Same half-empty bottle of water on the table. Only he wasn't in it. The camera panned slowly toward the window, then down, to a pumpkin sitting on the sill, its grin glowing faintly in the dark. The video cut out. Connor threw the phone across the room. It landed face up on the carpet. The screen still glowed. And the reflection of the pumpkin lingered for a full second before fading to black. Part 3. Connor didn't check out of the motel the next morning. He left before dawn, slipping past the reporters asleep in their cars. The air was crisp, the sky a dull bruise of grey. He drove without destination, past soybean fields glazed with frost, past barns with painted ghosts from last week's Halloween still swaying on their doors. Every mile put distance between him and Blackwood Farms, but the corn didn't stop. It stretched endlessly in every direction, rows upon rows, like a living wall that never quite ended. He pulled over near a crossroads, engine idling, head against the steering wheel. He hadn't eaten since the night before. His phone lay face down on the passenger seat, battery almost dead. It buzzed once. No caller ID. A message preview flashed across the lock screen. We left something for you. Connor killed the ignition. The silence was total. Then, from the fields beyond the ditch, came the faint crackle of a loudspeaker. Connor. The same voice. The same tone, calm, measured, too human to be a recording, too inhuman to be real. He grabbed his flashlight and stepped into the rows. The corn was taller here than in the maze, 12 feet, maybe more. Stalks swayed but made no sound. His shoes sank into soft mud. He followed the voice, the whispers threading through the mist. After a few turns, he reached a small clearing. In the middle stood a wooden crate, painted orange. A white tag dangled from a nail, "For you." Inside, wrapped in burlap, was a single object. A black mask. Matte finish. Smooth. No mouth. His stomach dropped. He stumbled backward, nearly slipping. Then his phone buzzed again. One new message, "Live." His breath caught. He opened it. A selfie. Liv's face, pale and smiling under floodlight. Behind her, blurred figures stood in a field. Her caption read, "It's okay now. We are part of it." The phone flickered, screen dimming, then freezing. Connor dropped it and ran. By the time the police found him, 2 days later, he was walking barefoot along a service road near the Susquehanna River, clothes torn, skin streaked with dirt and corn husk cuts. He told them the truth, that there was someone in the maze, that his friends were alive when he last saw them, that the farm wasn't what it seemed. They nodded, took notes, exchanged looks. Then they told him the official story. No bodies. No blood. No evidence. The pumpkin in the cruiser had been misplaced in evidence transfer. The security footage had corrupted. The maze was already being dismantled for winter. The sheriff, the same tired man from before, sighed as he closed his notebook. "Son, I think you saw something you can't explain. But the case is closed until we have proof." Proof. The word echoed through him long after he was released. Winter came early that year. Blackwood farms shut down out of respect for the families. The website went dark. Connor returned to campus, but everything felt wrong. His friends' dorm rooms were emptied within weeks. Memorial posters faded on bulletin boards. He tried therapy. He tried forgetting. He tried pretending the corn wasn't whispering in his dreams. Until one morning in February, he saw a headline on his phone. Blackwood Family Farms reopens under new management. Now featuring the legend of the masked harvester. There was a promo image, the same corn maze, same tower, same black mask. The tagline read, "Face your fears. The maze remembers." Connor dropped the phone. His hands wouldn't stop shaking. He called the number on the website. No answer. He emailed. It bounced back, mailbox not found. That night, he drove back to Lancaster. The farm looked brand new, fresh paint, new signage, updated lights. The parking lot was full. Families and teenagers queued for tickets, laughing under orange string bulbs. It was exactly like before. He slipped through the fence by the hayride lot, hood pulled low. No one stopped him. The maze archway loomed ahead, now reading Blackwood Harvest Maze, Fear Returns. Connor hesitated. Then he stepped inside. The corn swallowed the sound of everything behind him. The path was wider now, lined with hidden speakers. Pre-recorded screams and distorted farm sounds filled the air. Animatronic figures jerked from alcoves, scarecrows, farmers, skeletons in straw hats. He recognized the layout immediately. It hadn't changed. At the first crossroads, a staff actor in a pumpkin mask leapt out. Connor flinched, heart racing, until he noticed the costume. Matte black hoodie. Black gloves. Smooth pumpkin mask with no mouth. It wasn't a pumpkin at all. It was the mask. The actor waved plastic bolt cutters and rasped through a voice filter, "Take the pumpkin, or I carve you." Connor froze. He whispered, "Where did you get that?" The actor tilted his head, staying in character. "It's part of the show, man. Been here since last year. Management added it after, whatever happened." Connor's voice broke. "You don't understand. That's real." The actor frowned, breaking character for a second. Hey, you okay? Connor turned and bolted deeper into the maze. Every corridor twisted the same way as before. The air was thicker now, humid, despite the cold. The recordings distorted again. He found himself in the same clearing where the stage had stood last fall. The fake bonfire props were gone. Only the wooden tower remained. At its base sat a single pumpkin. Its grin was jagged. Its light flickered from within. Connor stepped closer. His reflection wavered on the glossy rind. Then his phone buzzed. No signal. No number. Just one message notification. Smile for the camera. He turned. At the top of the tower, silhouetted in orange haze, stood 4 figures: Jess, Tyler, Liv, and the man in the mask. Their faces were pale, eyes glassy. Each wore a staff badge, Blackwood Harvest Team. Jess raised her phone. The flash fired. The floodlights went out. The next morning, the Blackwood Maze opened on schedule. Visitors said it was the best year yet. Reviews online praised the realistic actors and immersive story. Some swore the performers didn't blink. Others claimed the PA system whispered their names as they walked. And on the final weekend of the season, one family posted a video from the Hayride Tower. A single figure in black, standing perfectly still against the sunset, holding a glowing pumpkin. Zoomed in, the mask's eye slits reflected the phone camera's flash, and something else behind it. Rows and rows of faces, blurred, pale, watching through the corn. The comments filled fast. This is fake, right? I was there, that's the same guy from last year. Look closer. The one in front. I think that's Connor. The post hit 1 million views overnight. The maze closed early the next morning, due to unforeseen circumstances. But when they reopened for the next fall season, the website banner showed a new promotional image. 4 masked figures in matte black, standing behind a man holding a grinning jack-o'-lantern. The tagline read, "The Maze Remembers." Story 2, The Treehouse, AT Devils Den. Part 1. The first sound Sophie heard after they crossed the Arkansas line was the drone of cicadas, endless, metallic, like static bleeding through the humid air. By the time they reached Devil's Den State Park, the sun had dropped behind the ridge, leaving the world tinted copper. Lightning pulsed on the horizon every few seconds, silent flashes that lit the treetops like a strobe. Callum downshifted the pickup and glanced at the GPS. "Half a mile more," he said. "You sure this is the right turn?" Sophie leaned forward, squinting through the bug-smeared windshield. The dirt road curved sharply into darkness. "That's what the host said, look for the split oak and take the gravel trail uphill." "Romantic getaway," Callum muttered. "We're gonna get murdered by raccoons." She smiled faintly. "You wanted remote?" "Yeah, not unlisted on Google Earth remote." The headlights caught a mailbox half swallowed by kudzu. Someone had painted cabin guests this way in red on a piece of driftwood. They bumped along for another 10 minutes until the trees opened to reveal a clearing and the cabin itself, perched high on stilts, a narrow staircase winding up to a wraparound deck. The listing had called it the Treehouse at Devil's Den, elevated views and rustic charm. From below, it looked less like a treehouse and more like something out of a fever dream, too tall, too skeletal, its stilts creaking in the wind. "Airbnb lied," Callum said softly. Sophie laughed, though uneasily. "It's cute. Just tall." They carried their bags up the stairs. The boards flexed underfoot. At the top, a motion light flicked on, illuminating a screen door and a small welcome sign made of cedar. "Check in. Enjoy the view. Don't go out after midnight." Callum raised an eyebrow. "That last part a joke?" Sophie unlocked the door. "Probably." Inside smelled of pine cleaner and something faintly chemical. The cabin was small but tidy, a kitchenette, a couch, a loft bed under a skylight. Ceiling fan spinning lazily above. On the counter, a note in neat handwriting. Welcome, Sophie and Callum. There's coffee in the tin and propane for the stove. If you need anything, the nearest town's 15 minutes south. Don't mind the storms, they roll fast through the valley. Jeb and Martha, your hosts. Sophie smiled. See? Southern hospitality. Callum collapsed onto the couch. If by hospitality you mean an oven with stairs. He waved a hand at the air. Jesus, it's like soup in here. She opened the sliding door to the deck. Warm air poured in, thick with the smell of pine and wet soil. Below, fireflies blinked among the ferns. The valley stretched endlessly beyond, black silhouettes of mountains rolling toward the horizon. It's beautiful, she whispered. Yeah, he said. Just hope we don't get fried by lightning. They unpacked, showered, and shared a beer on the deck as the night deepened. Somewhere in the distance, frogs sang in rhythmic pulses. Callum leaned back against the railing. You ever notice how quiet it gets before heat lightning? Sophie nodded. Feels like holding your breath. He smiled at her. We needed this. She smiled back, and then froze. From the woods below, a faint metallic clang echoed. Like a bucket tipping over. Did you hear that? She whispered. Probably raccoons, he said, standing. Or some Hicks generator. But she noticed the way his eyes darted toward the tree line. After a few minutes, the sound stopped. They went inside and locked the door. The next morning was hot enough to make the wood sweat. Sophie brewed coffee while Callum fixed the flickering ceiling fan. Town run? He asked. We need ice and maybe another propane tank. I'll come, she said, grabbing her bag. The nearest road stop was a small roadhouse bar beside a general store. Inside, ceiling fans creaked, and a neon sign buzzed faintly, Black Creek Tap. Every head turned when they walked in. An older man at the counter, sunburned neck, faded cap, nodded once, then went back to his drink. The bartender, a woman in her 60s, wiped a glass without smiling. Callum ordered 2 lemonades. Sophie felt eyes following them. You're tourists? The bartender asked finally. Cabin rental, Callum said. Up near Devil's Den. The woman stopped wiping. You mean the treehouse? Sophie hesitated. Yeah. The room went still. The man at the counter said quietly, that place ain't been rented in years. Callum frowned. We booked it online. Another man laughed dryly. Sure you did. A third voice, from the back, you folks ought to head out before dark. The bartender shot him a look. That's enough, Hank. But no one smiled again. When they left, the laughter didn't start back up. Outside, Callum let out a breath. Well. That was friendly. Sophie climbed into the truck. Maybe they don't like out-of-towners. He turned the key, the engine sputtered, then died. He tried again. Nothing. Seriously, he muttered. Batteries new. Sophie pointed to the front tire. Cal. The sidewall was slashed clean through. Another, same thing. All 4, shredded. Something glinted under the truck, a black-handled knife stuck upright in the dirt. The blade's edge was serrated. KA bar engraved near the hilt. They didn't wait. They called a tow service, but there was no signal. Sophie checked her phone, no service. A man in a camo jacket stepped out from behind the general store, smiling too widely. Trouble? Callum tensed. Flat tires. The man nodded toward the forest road. Got a shed back there with a jack and some spares. Come on, I'll help you. Sophie whispered, maybe we should wait for someone else. But Callum forced a grin. Appreciate it. The man led them behind the store to a narrow path overgrown with vines. The cicadas had gone silent again. The smell hit them first, sharp, chemical, like bleach. The shed was more of a shack. Tin roof. Padlock hanging open. Inside, the air was thick with ammonia and something worse. Plastic barrels lined the walls. Some labeled LYE, others paint solvent. Sophie's stomach turned. Callum froze. "What's that smell?" The man smiled. "Cleaning day." A child's sneaker lay half buried in the dirt near one barrel. Sophie tugged Callum's sleeve. "We should go." "Yeah," he said softly. "Yeah, we should." They turned. The man stood in the doorway, blocking the light. "You two from the treehouse, huh?" His tone had changed, no warmth now, just curiosity. Callum's throat went dry. We're heading back. Don't you worry. We'll get you home." He stepped forward, something gleaming in his hand. Callum's voice broke. "Run." Sophie didn't hesitate. She sprinted down the path, the woods exploding in motion around her. Branches slapped her arms. Behind her, Callum shouted, the sound of a struggle, then silence. When she reached the road, she looked back once and saw the man standing at the tree line, something long and curved in his hand. "A machete." He smiled. She made it halfway to the cabin before Callum's truck appeared behind her, tires crunching on gravel, engine roaring. Her first thought was relief. Then she saw the driver. The man from the shed. He waved through the windshield, mouth moving in a word she couldn't hear. Sophie bolted into the woods. Branches tore at her skin. Lightning flashed, closer now, thunder finally following. She didn't stop running until she saw the stilted outline of the cabin through the trees. She stumbled up the stairs, slammed the door, and locked it. Her hands shook as she dragged the propane stove to the door and wedged it under the handle. Outside, the truck engine idled. Then the headlights went out. Silence. Sophie pressed her back against the wall, listening to the cicadas start again, slow, rhythmic, like a clock winding up. She whispered, "Callum?" No answer. Just the scrape of boots on gravel below. And then, three soft knocks at the door. Part 2. The knock stopped. For a long minute, Sophie didn't move. She listened, to the fan blades clinking against the ceiling, to the wind pressing at the screens, to her own heartbeat in her ears. Then came the sound again, softer this time. Not at the door. From underneath. The stilts. Someone was climbing. Sophie backed away, eyes scanning the cabin. The only weapon she saw was the long fireplace poker leaning by the hearth. She grabbed it, hands slick with sweat. "Callum," she whispered, hoping, even now, that it might be him. A voice drifted through the floorboards, low and calm. "Sophie." Her breath caught. "You should let me in. He's hurt bad." Her throat went dry. "Where is he?" A pause. Then, "Right here." The next sound was a dull thump against the deck. Something heavy dragged across wood. Sophie edged toward the window, careful not to let the floor creak. She pulled one blind aside. Lightning flashed, bright enough to paint the world in a single frozen image. Callum. He lay sprawled against the railing, shirt soaked dark, one arm twisted at an impossible angle. His eyes stared straight ahead, unfocused. The man in the camo jacket crouched beside him, the machete gleaming in his hand. He looked up at the window and smiled. Then the light vanished. Sophie stumbled backward, hitting the counter. Her mind raced, she needed to call for help. The cell signal had been dead earlier, but maybe the storm had changed it. She snatched up her phone, thumb trembling over the screen. No service. The wind howled. Something banged against the door, once, twice, deliberate. "You can't stay up there forever." Sophie scanned the room. The propane stove sat wedged under the handle. 2 glass lanterns, a half-empty fuel canister, her nurse's bag. Her eyes stopped on the window above the sink. The latch was flimsy, but it opened onto the back deck, and from there, the stairs. If she could slip down the opposite side of the treehouse, maybe she could make it to the woods. She took one last look at the door, heart hammering, and whispered to herself, "Go." The window screeched as she lifted it. She winced, freezing. Outside, the storm had fully arrived, sheets of rain, thunder shaking the valley. She swung one leg out, then the other, and crouched low on the slick deck. Lightning flashed again. The man was gone. So was Callum. Her stomach turned cold. She crept along the railing toward the stairwell. Wind whipped her hair into her face. The boards trembled under each step. Then she heard it, boots on the stairs below, slow, steady, coming up. Sophie turned and ran the other direction, around the wraparound deck, looking for anything, a rope, ladder, anything. Her flashlight beam caught a shed-like structure built into the far corner under the eaves. She yanked it open, tools, propane tanks, cleaning supplies. A red gas can sat beside a coil of extension cord. A shape moved behind her reflection in the glass. She spun just as the machete punched through the doorframe inches from her face. She screamed and slammed the shed door shut, bolting it from the inside. The blade hacked once. Twice. The third hit cracked the wood. She backed against the wall, chest heaving. Her eyes darted to the propane tanks. An idea, dangerous, stupid, but better than waiting. She grabbed one, twisted the valve until gas hissed out, then pulled her lighter from her pocket. The door gave way. She flicked the lighter. A thin blue flame sparked. The man froze in the doorway, eyes flicking from her to the canister. "Don't," he said softly. Sophie's voice was a rasp. "Back away." He grinned. "You wouldn't." She lit the stream. Fire bloomed, roaring white-hot. The man screamed, staggering back as the flame licked the railing and wall. Sophie dropped the lighter and bolted, diving through the side window onto the deck. Behind her, the shed exploded in a flash that rattled the stilts. Flames raced up the wood. Rain hissed against it, but the fire spread anyway, oily, fast, alive. Sophie ran down the opposite stairs into the dark woods. The ground was slick, roots hidden under wet leaves. She slipped twice, knees scraping rock, the smell of smoke following her. The rain dimmed the world to shadows and sound, her own breathing, the roar of the fire above, and somewhere behind, the steady crunch of boots. She didn't dare turn around. The forest opened into a clearing, an old service road choked with mud. Across it, she saw light, a tow truck idling by the tree line, hazard lights blinking. A man stepped out, shielding his face from the rain. "Hey! Hey, over here," she shouted. He looked up, squinting through the downpour. He was in his 30s, beard, rain jacket. "You the lady from the treehouse?" he called. "Yes." "Please, there's a man," he tried to. A metallic clang cut her off. From behind the truck, something hit the ground, a fuel drum, rolling toward her. The man's expression changed. He reached into the cab and pulled something out. A hammer. She froze. "What are you doing?" He smiled faintly. "Helping." Then the first man, the one from the shed, emerged from the trees behind her. His clothes were scorched, hair smoking, face blistered but grinning. Between them, the road felt like a trap snapping shut. Sophie turned and ran again, veering off into the brush. Branches whipped her face. Thunder cracked overhead. She didn't know how long she ran before the forest thinned and she saw the cabin again through the rain. Half the structure collapsed, fire still burning in the roof. She stumbled back toward it. The only shelter. The only light. Inside, the floor had given way in places. Smoke curled through the gaps. She found the narrow loft ladder and climbed, coughing. From the window, she saw two figures moving below, the men, circling the base like wolves. She pressed her forehead against the cool glass and whispered, "Someone please see this." Lightning flashed again, and in that instant, she saw something new. Beyond the burning tree line, figures. Dozens. Standing still among the trees, faces pale and indistinct in the glow. Watching. Her heart seized. She blinked. They were gone. The boards creaked below. Boots on the stairs again. She backed against the wall, gripping the poker. The fire's light turned the cabin golden orange. Then, is silence. She waited. Seconds stretched. The handle of the door turned slowly. And stopped. Then, three soft knocks. The same rhythm as before. Knock. 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 Sophie raised the poker, voice trembling. "Stay away." No answer. Just another flash of lightning, and for a heartbeat, she saw the reflection in the window beside her. Callum. Standing inches behind her shoulder. His eyes wide. His mouth moving soundlessly. Then the thunder hit. The window shattered. Sophie screamed as the world became white light and smoke. When she woke, it was dawn. The storm had passed. The cabin was blackened, the air sharp with ash. The floor below was half collapsed, sunlight speared through the gaps. She dragged herself upright, coughing, head pounding. Down in the mud, the tow truck was gone. The forest silent. She limped to the deck and leaned on the railing. The woods looked peaceful now. Birds starting to sing. Then she saw it, nailed to a pine at the base of the hill. A square of metal, catching the morning light. She climbed down slowly, barefoot on wet boards. When she reached it, her breath caught. It was her nurse's badge. The plastic warped by heat, the photos still visible. Pinned there with a single rusty nail. And below it, a footprint in the mud, fresh. Part 3. When the rangers found Sophie at first light, she was sitting on the steps of the burnt-out cabin, wrapped in a blanket of ash and silence. A park deputy named Miller crouched beside her, flashlight still on though the sun had cleared the ridge. "Can you hear me?" She nodded once. He followed her gaze toward the smoldering stilts. What was left of the treehouse at Devil's Den leaned at a sick angle, black smoke rising from the beams. The smell of propane and charred pine clung to everything. "No one else up there?" he asked softly. Sophie's voice was raw. "Just me." He wrote something in his notebook, then looked toward the tree line. "You call in the fire?" She shook her head. "It started on its own." "Lightning?" A pause. "Maybe." By noon, the site was crawling with local authorities. Yellow tape cut through the trees. A handful of firefighters doused the last embers. The tow truck they found half a mile down the service road, empty, engine still warm, keys in the ignition. No driver. No footprints but Sophie's and the rangers. They took her statement in the ranger station. Miller set down a paper cup of water and a recorder. "Just start from the beginning. The rental, the people you met. Anything you remember." She told him everything, the bar, the slashed tires, the man with the machete, the night in the storm. Her voice stayed steady until she mentioned Callum. Then it cracked. Miller stopped the recorder. "We'll send search teams for him. But I gotta tell you, we've worked this park 30 years, there's no listing for a rental up there. Not on any records." Sophie stared at him. "I booked it through Airbnb. There was a page, reviews, photos." He shook his head. "Already checked. That page doesn't exist." She leaned back, exhausted. "It was real." Miller's eyes softened. "I believe you believe it." He slid a small evidence bag across the table. Inside was her nurse badge, scorched, the clip bent. "Found this nailed to a pine," he said quietly. "You know who might have done that?" Sophie stared at it for a long time before whispering, "No." 2 days later, the Northwest Arkansas Gazette ran the headline, "Couple missing after fire at Devil's Den treehouse. Authorities investigating possible arson, no record of reservation found." The photo showed the remains of the cabin, black stilts rising from smoke like bones. Callum's family flew in from Toronto. They searched for weeks. Drones, dogs, divers, in nothing. Sophie stayed in a motel near Fayetteville, refusing to leave until there was an answer. Each night, she replayed that final moment, the reflection in the glass, Callum's eyes, the flash of lightning. Sometimes she told herself it was trauma. Sometimes she knew it wasn't. On the 6th night, thunder rolled again. She sat up in bed, staring at the window. The air smelled faintly of pine and smoke. Her phone buzzed once. Unknown number, one new message. Her hands shook as she opened it. A photo. The bar. Black Creek Tap. Or what was left of it, just a shell, burned down to cinders. Fire trucks in the background, the neon sign melted into a red smear. The timestamp read 12:43 a.m., the same night the treehouse burned. Sophie whispered, "No." Then the image glitched. For half a second, the pixels rearranged, and there they were, faint but visible in the doorway, two silhouettes. One tall, one shorter, holding hands. Her breath caught. She dropped the phone. The official story spread fast. Electrical fire. Abandoned property. No foul play determined. But stories grew around the edges. Hikers said that on humid nights, you could see blue fire flicker through the trees above Devil's Den, floating at the height where the treehouse had stood. Others claimed the bar's jukebox sometimes came on by itself, even though the building was gone, playing the same scratchy country song from the night of the storm. Local kids dared each other to hike up to the clearing. Some swore they found the remains of a staircase still standing, leading nowhere. And on one of those stairs, always nailed to the wood, was a single piece of plastic, a melted name badge. Spring returned. The park rebuilt part of the trail. Officially, the area was off limits. Unofficially, the rangers said nothing when tourists wandered close. One evening, near dusk, Ranger Miller found a rental car parked by the service road. The license plates were from Ontario. He followed fresh footprints up the slope. The clearing was quiet again, no tape, no smoke, just the sound of cicadas warming in the heat. At the center of the blackened clearing stood a new structure. Smaller, rougher, a handmade cabin on stilts, half finished. Tools scattered at the base. Miller called out, "Hello?" A figure stepped out onto the platform above, a woman in a sun-faded hoodie, hammer in one hand. It was Sophie. Her hair was shorter now, eyes shadowed but steady. Miller said carefully, "You can't be out here. This land's still under investigation." "I'm rebuilding," she said quietly. "I owe him that." He sighed. "There's nothing left up here but ghosts." She looked past him toward the woods. "Then they can have the rest. Just this piece is mine." He hesitated, then nodded. "Sun's setting soon. You need a ride back?" She smiled faintly. "No. I think I'll stay a little longer." Miller turned back toward the trail. As he walked, he glanced over his shoulder once more, the cabin silhouetted against the last light. For a moment, it looked whole again. Warm glow in the window. Two shadows moving inside. Then the lightning flashed, and it was gone. That summer, Devil's Den reopened to campers. The brochures mentioned new, luxury rentals with a view. None said anything about the fire. But every now and then, someone checking in would find a small envelope on the cabin porch, no return address. Inside, a photo printed on heat-damaged paper. Always the same image, a woman and a man smiling on a wooden deck, storm clouds curling behind them, fireflies rising from the valley below. On the back, written in faint pencil, "Check in." Enjoy the view. Don't go out after midnight. Story 3, The Man at the Bus Stop. Part 1. 6:27 a.m. Dagenham, East London. The street was still half asleep, frost on the bin lids, condensation crawling up the bus shelter glass. A fox darted across the pavement, its tail a blur under the amber street lamp. Lily Patel tightened her scarf and stomped her trainers on the curb to keep warm. She was 16, still wearing the navy blazer and red tie of Riverside Academy, headphones in, schoolbag slung across one shoulder. The number 62 bus was due in 3 minutes. The digital sign blinked between times and static. Behind her, a front door opened with the groan of old hinges. "Lily! You forgot your lunch!" Her Aunt Mira hurried out in slippers, clutching a paper bag. Steam rose from her tea mug in the cold. Lily grinned. "Thanks, Marcy." "Don't stand so close to the road," Mira said. "Those lorries." "I'm fine." Lily took the bag, waving it playfully. "Go back inside before you freeze." Mira sighed and started to turn, but her expression shifted. Her eyes fixed on something behind Lily. The smile slid off her face. "Lily," she said quietly, "come here." Lily frowned, half turning. A man stood by the gate. He wore a fluorescent high-vis jacket over a dark hoodie, jeans spattered with mud, work boots white with frost. His face was shadowed by the hood, but his posture was wrong, too still, too intent. He smiled. "Morning, darling." Lily stepped back. Hi." He took a half step forward. "Give us a hug, yeah? It's freezing." Her aunt's voice cracked through the air. "Get away from her." The man's head twitched toward the house. Then he moved, fast, deliberate, like a switch flipping. Lily dropped her lunch bag and ran. She bolted for the door as Mira screamed, "Inside! Now!" The man's boots pounded on the pavement behind her. She reached the steps, tripped, hit the ground hard. He lunged. She scrambled up, fingers scrabbling for the letterbox slot. Mira's hand shot through from the other side. "Lily, here!" Lily jammed herself flat and dove headfirst through the opening. The metal scraped her coat, the edge catching her backpack strap. The man's hand seized the strap. She screamed, twisting, shoving her arms forward. Mira yanked from inside. The strap tore free, and Lily crashed onto the hallway rug. The door slammed. Outside, something slammed back, fists, boots, the sound of fury. Then silence. Lily pressed her palms over her ears. Her aunt whispered, "Don't look." But Lily did. Through the mail slot, she saw the man's eyes, inches away, staring through the brass slit. And then, slowly, his hand slid into view, his fingers dragging down the white paint, leaving long, wet streaks. The police arrived 9 minutes later. 2 officers, one young, one older. They searched the street, the front garden, the nearby alley. No man. No footprints. The frost on the pavement was scraped where she'd fallen, and along the curb, faint drag marks leading to the storm drain. Officer Keane crouched, tracing the grooves with his torch. Looks like he was wearing boots with steel toes. Deep impressions. Then nothing passed here. Mira clutched Lily's shoulders. He was right there. You must have seen something on the cameras. The older officer shook his head. Council's CCTV doesn't start recording till 7 a.m. budget cuts. He looked at Lily. You all right, love? Lily nodded mutely. Her hands were still shaking. The younger officer took her statement in the living room. Could you describe him? Height, build, anything? Tall, Lily said. Like, taller than Dad. Jacket was bright yellow, but dirty. His voice, she hesitated. Like he was trying to sound nice. The officer nodded. You've done good. We'll have units sweep the drains and building sites. There's no way someone just disappears in daylight. But even as he said it, his eyes drifted toward the frosted windows, where the condensation streaked downward like fingerprints. By afternoon, word had spread through the neighborhood WhatsApp groups. Warning sign # stranger alert, man in high-vis jacket approached girl at bus stop, early morning. Possibly drunk or on something. Avoid Dagenham Heathway side till police confirm safe. Parents waited with their kids that evening. Someone spray-painted PERV on the underpass wall. But by the next day, the story had already started to fade, replaced by gossip, schoolwork, the usual static of teenage life. Only Lily couldn't let it go. She hadn't slept. Every creak of the pipes, every brush of branches against the window, made her flinch. That Friday, she woke before dawn and checked her phone. The time read 4:03 a.m. She heard something outside. Not footsteps this time, a faint metallic echo, like a lid sliding over stone. She went to the window and lifted the curtain. The street looked the same, frost on the pavement, bins lined neatly. But the drain cover at the curb was half open. She swallowed hard. Her phone buzzed suddenly, a new notification. Local safety bulletin, CCTV shows unknown male entering manhole near Dagenham Lane around 4 a.m. Police investigating. The timestamp matched now. Lily stared at the message, then back at the window. The drain cover moved. Just a fraction, enough to shift the frost. At breakfast, Mira tried to keep things normal. "You're not taking the bus. I'll drive you to school." But no arguments. Lily nodded, spooning cereal mechanically. When they stepped outside, the frost glittered brighter than before. The air smelled faintly metallic. At the curb, Mira frowned. "What's that?" A strip of fabric fluttered from the letterbox. Lily reached for it. It was her school tie. She dropped it instantly, heart hammering. Mira went pale. "Go back inside." Lily stared at the tie, lying across the doorstep, damp with frost, and something darker near the end. That night, Officer Keane returned. He looked tired, older somehow. "We checked the drains," he said. "Cleared them from the river line to the high street. No sign of anyone. But we did find this." He set a small evidence bag on the table. Inside was a piece of yellow fabric, torn from a jacket. Found it snagged near the storm tunnel underpass. Mira crossed her arms. "So he's still out there?" "We don't know. It's complicated." He hesitated before continuing. "There's something else. The CCTV from last week, the night before your report. It shows someone climbing out of the same manhole at 4 a.m. Lily's stomach turned. "The same man?" He nodded. High-vis jacket. Carrying something. "What?" Kane's jaw tightened. "A tie. Looked just like yours." Mira's hand flew to her mouth. The officer closed his notebook. "We'll keep a unit on patrol. In the meantime, keep your doors locked. Don't go out before sunrise." That evening, as the frost thickened again, Lily sat by her window. The street was empty, lamplight reflecting on the pavement like glass. She thought of what the officer had said, the tie, the manhole, the time. 4 a.m. She checked her phone. 3:59. Her reflection trembled faintly in the glass. Somewhere below, metal scraped on metal. She leaned closer, breath fogging the window. At the edge of the light, the manhole cover shifted, just a fraction. And then a hand appeared, pale and slick with frost, gripping the rim. Lily stumbled back, heart slamming. The hand froze in place, motionless. The clock ticked over to 4 a.m. And the frost on the window bloomed outward, a perfect circle, as if something were breathing against the other side of the glass. Part 2. By Monday, Lily couldn't tell if she was more afraid of sleeping or waking. Her aunt insisted she take a few days off school. "You need rest," Mira said. No buses, no walking alone. Just, breathe. But the house felt like a trap. Every window a mirror, every creak a question. The police had increased patrols on their street, and Officer Keene stopped by every morning, always with the same calm voice and tired smile. "You're safe here, Lily," he said. Whoever that was, he's not coming back. But he didn't sound convinced anymore. That night, Lily woke to a faint vibration. Not her phone, the whole floor. She sat up. The house was silent, dark. The frost outside glowed faint blue under the street lamps. Then she heard it, a metallic thud from below. The radiator? The pipes? Another thud, closer this time. Hollow. She crept to her window and looked down. The manhole at the curb was open again. Steam curled up from it, turning white in the cold. Something moved beneath the surface, not climbing out, but shifting, slow and deliberate, like a hand pressing against the underside of a sheet. Lily stepped back, her pulse in her throat. She whispered, "Please stop, please stop." Her phone buzzed on the desk. Unknown number, one new message. She hesitated, then opened it. A photo filled the screen, her street, shot from the corner. The frame pointed directly at her house. In the bottom corner of the image, faint and blurred, stood the man in the high-vis jacket. He was looking up at her window. The timestamp read 4 hours and 2 seconds. Her phone slipped from her hand. When she looked up again, the drain cover was closed. The next morning, she showed the photo to Officer Keene. He frowned. "That's impossible." "What do you mean?" "This picture." He zoomed in. "Look at the date. It was from 6 days ago." "The night before your first report," he said quietly. "Before he ever approached you." Mira crossed her arms. "Are you saying she made it up?" "No," Keene said quickly. "I'm saying the timeline doesn't make sense. Whoever took this knew where she'd be, before she was there." He turned to Lily. "You didn't take this yourself? Or download it?" She shook her head. "It just appeared. No sender." He exhaled slowly. "We'll have digital forensics look at it." But the way his jaw clenched told her he didn't know how. That afternoon, Lily sat at the kitchen table scrolling through her phone gallery. She didn't remember taking half the photos there, dark, blurry shots of pavements, bus shelters, drains. The timestamps all read 4 a.m. One photo made her drop the phone, a close-up of a face reflected in wet asphalt. Her own face, eyes wide, mouth open as if mid-scream. She deleted it, but it reappeared instantly. By Tuesday, the frost thickened into ice. Pipes groaned. The neighborhood WhatsApp group buzzed again. Anyone else hearing noises under the pavement? Council workers out before dawn, wearing high-vis, but no trucks. Found a boot print on my drain cover this morning. Creepy. Lily didn't reply. That night, she dreamed she was standing at the bus stop again, fog rolling down the street like smoke. The timetable screen blinked, arriving 4 o'clock. Then the man stepped out of the fog, jacket glistening wet. He held out something small, a red school tie. "Lost and found," he said softly. She woke screaming. On Wednesday, Officer Keene returned, this time with someone else. A woman in plain clothes, calm and serious. "This is Detective Rena Holt," he said. "She's helping us review the CCTV." The detective nodded. "Lily, I'd like to show you something." She set her tablet on the table and played a short clip. Timestamp, October the 29th, 4 hours and 11 seconds. The CCTV feed showed Lily's street, the same drain visible near the curb. For a few seconds, nothing moved. Then the manhole cover shifted. A pair of gloved hands emerged, lifting the lid silently. The man in the high-vis jacket climbed out, looking around. But something about his movement was wrong, stilted, jerky, like frames missing between motions. He looked straight into the camera. Then the footage skipped. The man was gone. But his reflection remained, faint, in the puddle beside the drain. Detective Holt paused the video. We found no sign of forced entry, no prints. But here's what's stranger. She scrubbed backward on the timeline. The feed rewound. 2 minutes earlier, the same camera showed the drain already open, but empty. Then the timestamp glitched, 3:59 turned to 4 o'clock in a single flicker. And suddenly, the man was there. Glitch in the recording? Mira asked. Holt shook her head. Every camera in this block has the same missing second. Lily's voice was small. So he's still coming. The detective stuttered her. You said he spoke to you, called you darling? Lily nodded. Did it sound like anyone you know? Lily hesitated. No. But it sounded like he knew me. That night, the house felt colder than ever. The frost crept higher up the windows, like fingers reaching from below. At 3:55 a.m., Lily sat awake, phone in hand. She'd stopped trying to sleep. She whispered into the dark, if you want me, come then. Just stop waiting. Nothing. Then the radiator ticked. The air shifted, a faint draft from the hallway. Her phone buzzed once. Camera motion detected, front door. She tapped the alert. The live feed showed the hallway dimly lit by the nightlight. The letterbox flap was moving gently, tapping against the wood. Then, slowly, a shape pressed against it from outside, the outline of a hand. A voice came through, muffled but clear. Cold night, darling. Let me in where it's warm. Lily dropped the phone. Marcy, she screamed. Mira rushed from her room. What is it? The door, he's there. Mira grabbed the fireplace poker and crept toward the entry. The tapping stopped. Silence. Then, one single knock. Slow. Heavy. They froze. Another knock, from farther away. Not the door. The floor. A hollow thump beneath their feet. Then another. And another. The sound of someone moving under the floorboards, crawling along the old drain line that ran beneath the house. Mira clutched Lily's arm. Upstairs. Go. They ran to the landing, the sound following them, steady, rhythmic, tracing their path. Lily reached her room and slammed the door. The noise stopped directly below. She grabbed her phone, shaking. 4 hours. The screen lit with a new message. A video. She pressed play. It was her, filmed from the street outside, looking out the window exactly as she was now. In the reflection behind her stood the man. The feed froze. And somewhere beneath the house, something metal scraped open. Part 3. Morning light felt wrong. Too bright, too sharp, slicing through the frost like glass. When Detective Holt arrived, the front gate was open and the letterbox hung loose on one hinge. No one answered her knock. Keen, she said into the radio, Unit 12 responding, front door unsecured. Static. Then, copy. 2 minutes out. She pushed the door open. The house smelled faintly of bleach and cold air. Frost glimmered on the hallway tiles where the heat hadn't kicked in. Mrs. Patel? Lily? Silence. She moved carefully through each room. The upstairs lights were on, curtains half drawn. Lily's phone lay on the carpet by the bed, screen cracked but still glowing. One open message thread filled the display. Unknown, bus comes at 4. Unknown, don't be late. The last message was timestamped 4 a.m., the same minute the security feed had cut out again. Officer Keene arrived 10 minutes later. His breath steamed in the cold. Same time gap? Holt nodded. Exactly 4 a.m., again. Cameras freeze for 1 second, then come back with everyone gone. They checked the basement crawl space. The drainpipe hatch had been forced open from inside, metal edges bent outward. Keane rubbed his temple. He didn't get in through the street. No, Holt said. He was already under it. By noon, search teams were combing every storm channel between Dagenham and the river. They found nothing, no footprints, no jacket, no sign of the man or the girl. The only new evidence was a set of photos discovered in Lily's cloud backup, auto-uploaded at 4 a.m. There were 3. The bus stop at dawn, empty. The reflection of a girl standing alone on the wet pavement. A close-up of a high-vis jacket sleeve reaching toward the camera. Holt studied them for hours, zooming until the pixels blurred. Behind the reflection of the girl, faintly visible in the glass, was another shape, the suggestion of someone taller, face hidden by shadow, hand raised in a wave. That night, the incident made the local papers. Teen missing after second bus stop sighting. Most readers assumed she'd run away. Others in the comment section swore they'd seen council workers out before dawn, all in identical jackets, none with marked vans. By the end of the week, the rumors had already become folklore, the Dagenham man. Parents warned kids not to walk alone before sunrise. The council welded several drain covers shut. But at exactly 4 a.m. each night, residents still reported the same thing, a faint hum in the pipes, like breathing. 3 weeks later, Detective Holt requested the raw CCTV archive from Transport for London. She expected corrupted data. Instead, she found a new clip that hadn't been logged. Date, 1 week in the future. Time, 4 a.m. She played it. The feed showed the Dagenham bus stop, mist curling around the lamppost. A girl in a navy blazer stood there, frost on her hair. Lily. She checked the timestamp again. Future dated. Impossible. On screen, Lily looked up, directly into the camera, lips moving as if speaking. The audio came through faintly distorted but clear enough to make out one word. Run. Then the man stepped into frame behind her. Holt froze the playback. The high-vis jacket. The same gait. But when she enhanced the frame, the face under the hood was hers. The reflection on the bus shelter glass showed Detective Holt's own eyes staring back. The clip ended at 4 hours and 59 seconds. She shut the laptop. The sound of distant buses echoed through the window, though no schedule listed any at that hour. The following morning, Officer Keane went to collect her for briefing. The lights in her flat were on, kettle still warm. Her laptop screen glowed with a single paused video, the Dagenham Street at dawn. Outside, the drain cover beside the curb had been moved 6 inches from its frame. Months passed. The file was quietly closed. But the footage didn't stop circulating. Someone uploaded it to a local subreddit, Weird CCTV Loop, 4 a.m. Dagenham. Viewers noticed new details each time it replayed, the faint reflection of multiple figures behind the glass, the shimmer of frost-forming letters on the pavement that spelled wait, the bus headlights approaching but never arriving. At exactly 4 minutes in, the video always froze on the same frame, Lily's face half turned toward the camera, eyes wide, mouth open. Then the screen went black, and for a heartbeat the viewer's own webcam light flickered on. In Dagenham, the number 62 timetable was eventually replaced with a newer digital sign. It blinked through routes automatically, until sometimes, at 4 o'clock sharp, a different message appeared for 1 second before reverting to normal. Next service, Darling. Drivers said they occasionally saw a girl in uniform waiting alone by the shelter, steam rising from the pavement around her shoes. When they slowed to stop, the seat was empty. Only frost footprints led to the manhole.